Okay, so now it's time for the next part of the Guide to Avaritia that covers mod interactions, because it was a long recording. Have fun! Okay, so, next item we're going to talk about. This one here, Blood Orb of Armok. You'll notice that it is from Avaritia. Now, just to show you that, there it is. Yep. It's here under Creative, which you'll notice, well, I say you'll notice. You might notice. You might have to go back and watch. In the normal mod tutorial I've been doing with this, you'll notice that these items here were not in the Creative tab for just Avaritia. These will only show up if you're using the specific mods for them. Like here, these are specifically for thermal singularities. I wasn't using that in the normal tutorial thing. I'm using them, so they've showed up here. Easy. Now, the Blood Orb of Armok comes from the Blood Magic mod. Now, let's look at a recipe real quick. Oh, neat. And I'm gonna... There we go. This, of course, requires an extreme crafting recipe, and it uses items from blood magic. Transcendent Blood Orb. 4 of them. And if you've ever used blood magic, you'll know that these are pretty close to top tier. These are difficult to get. So yeah, so the description is no longer there. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Items you need. You need infinity ingots, an infinity catalyst, which again is difficult to get with all this stuff, and neutronium ingots. Simple enough sort of recipe. Hard to get items. So what does it do? You know, it stores unlimited life essence while held. Okay, so how to edit there real quick. So, the Blood Orb of Armok. It gives you unlimited life essence. Now, if you've used blood magic, the blood magic mod, you'll know that there isn't really much as far as in-game documentation goes. So if you've never used it before, this explanation probably won't make a whole lot of sense. Of course, even if you have used it before, this explanation probably still won't make a whole lot of sense, simply because I'm not that great at explaining things. So, in the blood magic mod, in order to do stuff with blood magic, you use life essence, which is normally done through... where is it? Did I already pass it? There it is. Not the creative one, but the normal sacrificial knife. You store life essence from your blood into what is it called? Your what is the proper term? Darn it, I can't remember. It's basically a blood network, I think it was. Yeah, that might have been it. Blood network, sure. Let's assume that's the name, just because I can't quite remember if it was. I'll probably add an annotation for it if I'm wrong. But anyway, you can use that to do various stuff, like with these items here. This is an item that creates lava, one that makes water. Yeah, and you use your life essence to power them. It's cool. And you use the various types of blood orbs to store life essence to carry around with you, so that you can use these items. So, this isn't exactly a great demonstration while we're in creative mode. So, yeah. Normally, if you're using this in just normal survival mode, you would, if you don't have a blood orb of some sort with you, you would start taking damage, because these items would basically be draining life essence from you in order to work. Now, of course, with various types of blood orbs hold certain amounts, because this is almost the same as a creative item. the creative blood orb. Except, of course, you can get this in survival. It basically gives you an unlimited amount while you're holding it. So what if I'm not holding it? What about then? Oh, nothing so far. No damage yet. How about this? The one that lets me fly. Nope, still no damage. That's interesting. Now, I will say that I am not exactly an expert at blood magic. Yeah, I'm still a little... I've only delved into it a few times. I don't know everything about it. So I can't exactly tell you why, specifically, this isn't killing me the way it should. But yeah, the Blood Orb of Armok. It's basically the same thing as the creative Blood Orb, but you can get it in survival if you have lots and lots of materials. Okay, so now it's time to talk about Botania. So, in Botania, if you don't already know, Botania is a mod for 1.7.10 that uses various types of flowers and stuff as magic. They do various things. You can do some cool stuff with it. It adds lots of decorative blocks, adds bosses and mobs, and a bunch of other cool stuff. Check it out if you never have. And if you're using Botania and Avaritia in the same world, it gives you 2 new types of flowers and 2 special floating flower versions of those. These are the Asgard... Give me a moment. Asgard Dandelion. One that's hard to pronounce. The flavor text for it. Watered with Vazki's tears. Vazki is the creator of Botania. And notice that it also has Avaritia there in brackets to note what mod it comes from when you're using Botania. And you also get the Sorleander. Just hook it up to my... I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing that's a reference to something. But yes. Now, you'll notice that when we're hovering over them, we've got what looks like a little book there with a question mark and the control button. Now, if you notice, that is the same book that's here, which is the Lexica Botanica, Botania, which is the guide for Botania. That's in-game. So, let's press Control. Control. I don't know, maybe I've got it set up wrong. But anyway, though it would take you to, Oh. I just wasn't clicking it long enough. I don't think I've ever actually used that in-game. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Loading. There we go. Taking it to the page for it. Sorleander. 1 of 2. I'll let you read this flavor text as I keep it up for a minute. So, the Asgardelian, I think, and the Sorleander are sort of finished. You can get them in normal survival mode, but I haven't actually been able to get their function to work. Yeah, I don't know why exactly. For whatever reason, I just can't get them to work in normal survival mode. But hey, whatever, it doesn't mean you can't get them. They're neat. Now, there it is. Asgardandelian. Why is it so hard to pronounce? Yeah, I'll let you read this here. Now, you notice that, there was a little arrow down here that I clicked to go to what was a special recipe creation for the Botania mod. It has its own special type of crafting stuff. Look into it, it's a cool mod. But you'll notice that there is not one here. So this item cannot be created through the normal Botania crafting stuff. So, if you can't do it like that, how can you do it? Well, let's leave this section, and let's click R. Oh look, it's an extreme crafting recipe. Uses neutronium ingots, neutronium nuggets, infinity ingots, and an infinity catalyst. Now, you'll notice that there are also this up here. Well, this is not exactly useful. Yeah, that is not the item we're trying to look at. And neither is that. Or any of those. Yeah, NEI doesn't work super well with Botania for whatever reason. I mean, it works okay, but for some reason it does this all the time. I have no idea why. You have to ask someone else about that. But now, something of interest here. Pay attention to this recipe. Have you memorized it? You don't have to. It's fine. So what happens if I click R here? It gives the exact same extreme crafting recipe. And it does not show you the item we looked at. So maybe I just misclicked. Sorlander, yeah, that's definitely a thing. For whatever reason, it shows the Asgard, this one, in the extreme crafting recipe. I don't know why. Again, like I said, this one doesn't seem to have been fully implemented yet. It's just a bug, I guess. But it does have the proper NEI recipe here. This was what the NEI recipes look like for the Botania stuff. Yeah, that one worked fine. For whatever reason. I don't know. So yeah. And of course these are the floating flowers, which is just a normal thing. You can turn the various types of Botania flowers into floating flowers. They're neat. They just have the normal recipes for that. Yeah. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the few other items that are in here that we haven't covered yet. And they are all related to a mod called Thaumcraft. Now, if you've never used Thaumcraft, I'd highly recommend it. It's a cool mod. It's available for various versions of Minecraft. Check it out. But in this particular case, Avaritia is only for 1.7.10, so it only affects the version for 1.7.10. Now, you might be wondering why there are various specific items for Thaumcraft. Well, aside from the fact that Thaumcraft is a popular mod and it's cool to create add-ons for it, there are lots of add-ons for it. One of the authors of Avaritia, Spiteful Fox, is also an author for a Thaumcraft add-on called Forbidden Magic. So hey, you know, they worked on this mod, why not do some interaction, I guess. I don't know. I haven't exactly talked to them about the reasons. But, you know, it's cool. So, the items added. This is an item called Akashic Records, Extremely Primordial Pearl, Crystal-Studded Cosmic Neutronium Wand, and two variations on that, the Orichalcum Studded Cosmic Neutronium Wand, and the Orichalcum Studded Cosmic Neutronium Staff. Let's talk about this first. If you've never used Thaumcraft, Thaumcraft is a mod that creates magic in Thaumcraft based around wands. Now this thing here, let's look at it. Capacity, that's 9,999,999, I think. Is that the right amount of nines? Yeah, I think that's right. So it's not quite 10 million, but it's close enough. It has 10% average viz cost, or V cost. I don't speak French. Again, that's only relevant if you know about Thaumcraft. And it also has that 9 million whatever in various colors there. Again, that's related to the mod itself. And I'm not going to go into super detail about it because, again, I'm bad at explaining stuff. So, let's see here. Will it give us a recipe? Yes, it does. This is not a normal Thaumcraft recipe. This is specifically an extreme crafting only, or a creative only recipe. Notice that it uses the crystal matrix ingots, uses infinity ingots, uses neutronium ingots, and an infinity block, which of course is technically also infinity ingots. But yeah, so if you've never used a wand, why don't I show you real quick? I actually have a wand focus here. Let's see if I've got my nope, I don't have the key bindings right. Give me a minute. Okay. Wand focus excavation. You'll notice that it looks different now. The wand focus for excavation is basically turns the wand into a mining tool. Like this. Mining beam! Go! Yeah, so that's what it does normally. Now, if you've ever played Thaumcraft, you know that doing something like this costs Viz. V, whatever. I'm going to call it Viz for the purpose of this video, simply because I just don't know what it is technically. Now, note that 9,999,000 numbers that were there in the various colors. So, you'll notice in the top right-hand corner is a thing. Yes, it is a thing. Now, in particular, you're going to be paying attention to the green bar that's there. You notice that it looks like it has something a little bit sticking out there a little bit more than the others. Which for some reason, yeah. Okay, so that's an indication of what type of Viz you're using. Now, if we click over this, now it now says wand focus excavation, and of course I was in creative mode during this, darn it. Okay. Darn it. Alright. Now it's time to properly show you. Okay. So, that's a little bit of stuff. Let's see. Nope, didn't change yet. So, just like, if you haven't guessed yet, this is basically the same as a creative item, which you can get in survival mode, which is like so much of what Avaritia is. You can basically use this pretty much infinitely in survival. It isn't technically infinite, but it's close enough that it doesn't really matter. Now, has it changed yet? No, it has not. Like I said, it's basically an infinite use item. Okay, so I mentioned how this was basically a creative version of wands for Thaumcraft. And I mentioned these two items were sort of a subset. Well, after actually thinking about it and looking it up, I remembered that these two items have absolutely nothing to do with Avaritia. That was my mistake. You notice that these say creative only? These are basically the creative versions of this. You can basically get a creative wands in, well, actually, technically speaking, it's the Forbidden Magic mod, not just normal Thaumcraft. So yeah, this is basically a version of this you can get in survival. So yeah, that was my bad. Sorry about that. Okay, now, time to talk about these two items. Akashic Records and Extremely Primordial Pearl. Let's talk about this one first since I'm hovering over it. Now, Recipe. No? Usage? Ah, you can use it to make the Infinity Catalyst, of course. So, what is this and how do you get it? Well, normally, not enough items, which is also NEI, because I don't think I've actually technically called it not enough items yet in this video. Normally, NEI does not show you stuff from Thaumcraft. You need to have special add-ons for it to show the recipes for them. Unfortunately, I apparently did not actually remember to put that in this particular world save. Oops. But, fortunately, rather than some kind of crazy hidden item, I can find it with the Thaumanomicon cheat sheet. These, both the Akashic Records and the Extremely Primordial Pearl, are here under the Eldritch tab, which again is something that's normally takes a while to get too many. But anyway, what are they and how do you get them? Extremely Primordial Pearl. Flavor text, Avaritia, which is the AV in brackets there, because you can always have more. Here is the text. You can read that on your own time. Now, you can only create this through Arcane Infusion. Again, if you don't know what that is, look up a guide. In order to get that, you combine 8 Primordial Pearls through Arcane Infusion. It requires these particular types of... Oh yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. These particular types of Essentia, and the stability is dangerous. Now, you notice, if you've been reading this flavor text, it doesn't exactly tell you what it does. It's not super obvious. It just basically says it's a better version of the Primordial Pearl. That's super helpful if you don't know what the Primordial Pearl is. So, let's go look at it real quick. Primordial Pearl. Okay, so here is the in-game explanation for what the Primordial Pearl item is. Blah blah blah, 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 blah 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 blah. So, I'll give you a few more seconds to read this while I'm talking about it. Basically, by itself, it has no use. It is, in fact, an item used for specific crafting recipes within Thaumcraft. So, what exactly is the Extremely Primordial Pearl good for? Well, it's used for nothing. Yeah, it's an item that has not been completely implemented at this point in time. This point in time being August 2016. Yeah. So, the Primordial Pearl is used for crafting this item and crafting this item. And the Extremely Primordial Pearl is used for nothing at all. So, one other thing before I continue. This here, Terminus, the end of games, Apocalypse, there's some other flavor text there, but I can't see it. I am 90% sure this is a special type of Essentia added by Avaritia. But I do not know for certain. I'll look it up real quick. Okay, so I couldn't find exactly whether or not it was. But yeah, like I said, I'm 90% sure this is something that's added by Avaritia. So yeah, just an extra thing, because why not? It really fits in with Avaritia's theme. Now, the other add-on item for Thaumcraft by Avaritia, the Akashic Records. Flavor text, more knowledge than you'll need. And you can read this while I'm talking about it. This is also created through Arcane Fusion. It uses 4 Infinity Ingots and a Knowledge Fragment. It uses these Essentia, again, Terminus, and it's dangerously unstable. Now, unlike the Primordial Pearl, Extremely Primordial Pearl, I'm sorry, this does have a good explanation about what it's for. In Avaritia, Knowledge Fragments basically give you something called research points when you use them. Research points are used for various things within the mod, and that's cool. The Akashic Record is basically a version of that that gives you infinite research points when you use it. Now, has it been fully implemented? Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not entirely sure. I think the answer is no, it has not been fully implemented. And because I actually went into creative and got the cheat sheet out, I'm not even sure if using this would actually do anything. So let's test it out real quick. Okay, in survival, let's see. Will it do anything? Ooh! Oh, wow. Look at that. Gained 99 research points for everything. Okay, yeah. So that has been implemented into the game. Cool, I didn't realize that. And it did in fact work. Awesome! And of course it isn't technically infinite. But again, 999 is a lot. Probably more than you'll ever need. Yeah, if you've ever used Thaumcraft, 999 is a heck of a lot. Of course, if you've played Thaumcraft, you also know that even just getting to this section of getting to the Eldritch tab here, it takes a while, so by the time you could actually create this thing, you probably don't even need it. But again, play however you want. This is just a very cool little thing added. Very useful if you can get it. Okay, so that is pretty much everything to do with stuff that gets added by Avaritia with other mods, as far as I know. Again, just to reiterate, I have not encountered every single mod interaction with every single mod possible, because I don't know all of them. And I have not been able to find anywhere that gives any hint to all of them. And again, because I don't specifically know how this works, like whether or not it's specifically coded in for specific mods, or if it's just something that can happen if the mods have the right codes or something. I don't know everything that is possible. But these are, as far as I know, are all the special items that are added by through Avaritia's mod interactions. Any further possible mod interactions would probably just increase the amount of blocks needed for the neutronium compressor to forget the singularities. And it could possibly do stuff like it does with Tinker's Construct, getting like little parts made out of these materials, or with BC Transport in the facades. But yeah, there are only a few specific items that are specially added by Avaritia. Now, there is another part to this part of the guide, and that will be going back to that other world I was in to talk about some tips and tricks, let's call it. Yeah, let's go over there, shall we? Okay, so that's the end of this part of the video. This recording was about 2 hours long, so it's getting split up into a bunch of different sections. I'll be posting the next part shortly, so check that out when it happens. Bye!